My name is Ulysses, but everybody calls me Sonny, and strumming is probably the most misunderstood concept on guitar. And in this video, we're going to be going very in-depth as to what the basis of strumming is and how you can control the fundamentals, so that way you can be more comfortable in whatever situation that you're going to be in. When you strum the guitar, you are turning the guitar into a percussive instrument because you are striking the string. But a lot of us are striking the strings extremely hard because we're using our forearm. We're using our and we're coming back up. And what starts to happen is that puts a lot of stress on our elbow and our shoulder. And over a period of years, that can actually cause some damage that, I'm not joking, can be unfixable. So what you should be doing is using more of your wrist, more of a loosey-goosey. Don't be John Cena, loosey-goosey. And a good way of testing that is if you hold down your forearm, you still should be able to strum. If you are going to use your forearm and you start to strum, you'll notice it really quickly. So make sure you use your wrist. Another factor is your pick. When I'm strumming songs that have a lot of strumming involved in it, I use a thinner pick. The reason why is, one, if I have a thicker pick, I'm more likely to drop it. And most of us are dropping our picks because we're using such thick picks. They're thinner, so they'll actually form around my finger. Another reason why I use thinner picks is the thicker pick will start to rebound against my hand. So I'll strike it and the string will come back and hit, and it hurts a lot. You can use thicker picks, maybe like what I do when you start to do more solos or anything like that. But if I would be doing a lot of strumming, I'm gonna use a thinner pick and my wrist, so that way, one, I'm not actually gonna wear out my joints. Two, it makes me more accurate. And three, I can play for a lot longer period of time. So, thin picks, wrist, and just relax, don't hit the string so hard. The first thing we're going to have to control while we're strumming is knowing where the beat is. And this is the stereotype for guitar players because they have no idea where the beat is. Now, what is the beat? There is a pulse that's happening throughout a song that is steady, that keeps all the musicians in place. So let's say I'm singing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. There is a beat within that song that'll keep us, even if you're not counting with me, in the same place. I'll show you. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. You can feel where that tempo is, where that beat is. The tempo is how fast I'm going. I can speed it up. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Or slow it down. Twinkle, twinkle. I think you get the idea. And what guitar players are doing is they're paying attention more to their playing more than where the beat is. And it's bad because we actually end up sounding horrible because the guitar player keeps speeding up and slowing down because they're not paying attention to the beat. They're paying attention to what they're playing. Now, there's a lot of factors involved with this. This is such a complicated instrument that the first thing our brain starts to do is stop counting. So what we have to start doing is be able to keep track of that beat with no thought. The first thing I want you to do is I want you to listen to all your favorite songs and see if you can feel where that pulse is, where that beat is. Don't label it just yet. Just make sure you can feel where it's at. If you are having a lot of trouble doing that with your favorite songs, maybe go find some electronic music, something that has a lot of bass in it, like they're really emphasizing the beat there. Or make sure you listen more to the drummer because that is their whole job, to make sure that everyone can really feel where that beat is. So let's say you do have the beat under control. What do we do next? So let's say you know where the beat is and you can feel it on all songs. Now we have to start labeling it. This can get kind of controversial, but you're going to understand why in the world it matters that we're thinking simply. Most of the time we're counting to 4. So we'll count like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll do that through the whole song. And that's why the musicians know where each other are at. We're all agreeing on what beat 1 is, and we can start and stop whenever we want to because we all know we're all going to come in on 1, we're all going to stop on 3. It's not that wild unless we're not agreeing on what number we're counting to or which beat is which. So for example, if I'm calling something beat 1 and the other guitar player is calling it beat 2, it's not going to work out that well. We're going to be off the whole time. We all have to agree on what we're counting to and how fast we're counting it. Now, this can get kind of weird because most of the time we're counting to 4, but sometimes we're counting to 3 or 6, and sometimes it's a crazier number that gets like really nutty. What matters more than anything else is that the ones line up. I've been in a lot of gigs where everyone on stage is counting differently, but because we're all agreeing on where 1 is, it's okay because our starting points all line up. We just use bigger cycle counts. So for example, although I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, someone else might be counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice the ones still line up, so it's okay. So, what are some exercises to help with this? We're going to be using a metronome to do these exercises. I'm going to be at 75 beats per minute. If you have a drum machine, that's great. If you have a song around that same tempo, that's even better. What I want to make sure of is that you understand how we're going to be doing this. I'm going to be counting this in, saying 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to start the exercise. In this case, we're going to be clapping on 1. The reason why I'm starting to count on 2 is because everyone starts to get really excited. If I say 1, they start clapping as hard as they can. So the first exercise is clap when you say 1 and pay attention to how that feels. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hopefully you could feel where you were supposed to clap after a while. If you didn't, it's okay, just keep doing the exercise over and over again. Now this is going to lead us to our next exercise. We're going to clap on beat 2. Remember, after the count-in. And I want you to really pay attention to how this is going to feel different. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hopefully you could notice that had a different sensation, and that's how we know where beat 1 and beat 2 are at, because they feel different from each other. Now, a long time ago they would say beat 1 is the strong beat and beat 2 is the weak beat because 1 felt stronger to clap on. Well, we don't play like Baroque music anymore, so we don't know which beat will feel stronger for us. So my teacher liked to say the strong beat is where you want to clap and the weak beat is where you don't want to clap. And this is where strumming gets complicated because there's some places you do and do not want to strum and it feels really awkward. So what we have to start doing is getting comfortable with all the beats. And that's what the next 2 exercises are going to help us with. We already did 1 and 2, so now we have to get comfortable with 3 and 4. So let's clap on beat 3. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hopefully you noticed that felt similar to beat 1. So sometimes we'll get confused as to is this beat 1 or is this beat 3? It's totally normal. The more often you do these exercises, the better you're going to be at them. So now we have to do beat 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now hopefully you noticed that felt similar to beat 2. And we just keep doing those exercises over and over and over again until we feel comfortable with all 4 beats. But that is what leads us to the most misunderstood concept on guitar. I'm going to really emphasize here that you pay attention to this part of the video because this is the part that everyone is not understanding. Right now we're strumming what are known as quarter notes. You're strumming 1 time per beat. It's important because this turns it into what I think is called a binary system. Please correct me in the comments. Meaning we either strum on beat 1 or we don't strum on beat 1. We either strum on beat 2 or we don't strum on beat 2. We strum on beat 3, we don't strum on beat 3, or we strum on beat 4 and we don't strum on beat 4. So that means it's a 1-0 type of system, which means we can estimate how many strumming patterns we can have. It ends up being 2 because it's either 1 or 2, we strum or don't strum, to the how many beats we have exponent. So it's 2 to the 4th power. Why does that matter? 2 to the 4th power is 16. That means there are 16 strumming patterns that we have in this series. But one of them doesn't count because that means you don't strum at all. That makes it 15. Now, later on in the video, we're going to do eighth notes. Okay, why does that matter? Because that means you're going to have 2 to the 8th power variations. That adds up to 256 variations on strumming. Now, one of them doesn't count because you don't strum at all. 255 variations. Now, when someone tells you that they're going to teach you a new strumming pattern, they are implying that they have all 255 memorized. Hey, you know what? Let's give them that. Let's say they have those 255 memorized. After 8th notes is 16th notes. So that means it's going to be 2 to the 16th power. That is going to be over 60,000 variations on strumming. Now, I promise you, nobody has all of them memorized. But we don't have to have the entire English dictionary memorized in order to speak English. What we want to do is master certain ones, and then we can fill in the gaps for all the rest of them. And that's what this exercise is about. Understanding that strumming is the control of the beat more than it is memorizing a bunch of patterns. Now, a lot of you might be saying at the screen right now, what about my pick direction? Doesn't that matter? Not for right now. What matters is that you're hitting at the right time. Will it be a little bit of a tone difference? I promise you, the people who can hear it, we don't care about them. What we care about is hitting at the right time. Once we practice these particular sets of exercises, I promise you, all 60,000 of those variations will open up to you, but you have to understand it's not about memorizing all of them, it's about mastering the ones that matter. So the first set of variations is we only hit one time in the measure. So we only hit on beat 1, beat 2, beat 3, or beat 4. Now we're going to hit 2 times. So now we're going to hit on beat 1s and 2, 1 and 3, 1 and 4, 2, 3, 2, 4, and then 3, 4. I'm going to stress to you that you pay attention to how things feel. If you notice that you're getting lost, slow it down using the play speed option at the bottom of the screen. And the reason why you want to do this is so that way you can pay attention or feel more and not get so discombobulated as to what's going on. So let's do the first set of the second variation. All right, beats 1 and 2, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you felt comfortable with doing that exercise, what I want you to start doing now is strumming these with whatever chords that you want to. And it's just so you can get used to it. I'm going to continue clapping so that way you don't have any type of interference with whatever chord that you're picking. If I pick a G chord and you pick an E chord, that's not going to end up really well. But if you strum at the same time, we're not going to interfere with each other. So make sure you're either clapping or strumming along. I'm going to stress that you strum it though. Let's do 1 and 3. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This next one is definitely going to be the hardest one of a whole series of quarter notes, and it's because those beats are so far apart and close together that it's really easy to get lost or forget one rule that you're supposed to be doing. So, 1 and 4. Beats 1 and 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you struggle on that one, it's totally fine. That is definitely the hardest one. So now we're going to start hitting on beat 2. Notice it's going to require some patience on this one. It's okay, you just got to practice it. Beats 2 and 3. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, hope you felt comfortable with that one. Hopefully you're also starting to feel more of what's going on. So let's do the next one, 2-4. Beats 2 and 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you want a little bit of hint on that one, that's also where the drummer tends to hit the snare drum. So if it helps, it helps. Let's now do beats 3 and 4. Beat 3 and 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Our first variation was hitting 1 time in the 4 count, or 1 time per measure. The next one we did was 2 beats per measure. Now we're going to be hitting 3 beats per measure. This will start to get kind of weird. So again, use the slow down function at the bottom of the screen to make sure you're feeling comfortable. So let's do that first variation. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That one tends to be easier, but you're going to notice this next one is going to be a little bit harder, but let's go ahead and attempt it anyway. 1, 2, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that one felt awkward. And it's because you're starting to get used to the momentum of strumming, then you have to stop and then start back up again. It's totally normal if you're struggling in that one. Remember, just slow it down or just do it on your own pace. Just keep practicing it. Let's go to the next one. 1, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe that one was easier for you. Hopefully. All right, let's do 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Hopefully that wasn't too crazy, but this next one, definitely the hardest one, because now we're going to be hitting all the beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Technically that should have been the hardest one, but it was the easiest. Why? There's no thought. You just hit everywhere. So it's not necessarily that strumming is difficult. It's when you don't strum that it becomes difficult, because those gaps make everything start to feel awkward. However, as you gain more control over them, those are actually the cool ones. So now let's start to tackle the eighth notes. Eighth notes can get pretty crazy. Remember, the 255 variations, but we don't have to know all 255 to control all 255. Now, this is where people start to get really silly with their strumming, because they're going to start trying to tell you which direction to strum. Technically, when you say a number, you're supposed to strum down. And when you say an and, you're supposed to strum up. So if we're counting just quarter notes, it would sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you're doing eighth notes, you're going to strum up on the way back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice I haven't changed how fast I'm counting. I'm only changing how much I'm strumming. I'm strumming twice as much. And technically, you're supposed to say and. 1, and 2, and 4, and. People start to say which direction you should be strumming to help you strum. So they'll say something like down, 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 up, down. but now you're paying attention more to what direction you're strumming more than the beat. And then that's when a stereotype kicks in, because what matters more, your direction of the pick or the beat? It's the beat. So what I want you to pay attention to is, are you hitting when you're supposed to hit? It doesn't matter which direction you're going in. If you want to get really picky about it, yes, numbers are down, hands are up. But I'm going to stress, don't worry about that. Worry about hitting at the right time and making it feel correct. I'm going to really stress that you start strumming all the rest of these exercises, because you want to start getting comfortable with going down and up. Try really hard not to do too many downs. Just make sure that you throw an up every once in a while, regardless if it's a downbeat or an upbeat. Our first variation is going to be an eighth note on the third beat. So it's going to sound something more like this. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Remember, it doesn't matter which direction you're going in, just make sure it's not always the same direction every time. Eighth notes on 3. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 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 4. Hopefully that felt comfortable for you. If it didn't, slow it down, or just make sure that you're doing it over and over and over again to get comfortable with it. So let's go to the next variation. Eighth note on 2. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 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 3, 4. Hopefully that felt comfortable for you. Now, let's put the eighth note on 1. Eighth note on 1. 2, 3, 4. 1 and 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 2, 3, 4. All right, let's do the eighth note on 4 now. Eighth note on 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Hopefully that wasn't too wild for you. If it was, remember, we all had to get used to this anyway. So just keep doing it over and over again until you feel more comfortable. This next set is the exact opposite of what we were doing before. What we're going to be doing is doing straight eighth notes and then taking away strums so that we could get used to a larger amount. So before, while we're adding in one eighth note, now we're going to be doing all eighth notes but putting in a quarter note. You'll see what I mean. Straight eighth notes for now. 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. It's okay if your hand did not want to keep up. Just remember, loosey-goosey, not John Cena. So let's go to the next exercise. Eighth notes everywhere but beat 4. 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 4. Weird, I know, but just keep practicing it. Alright, let's do the next exercise. Eighth notes everywhere but beat 3. 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and... I know, it's getting wilder. Let's now do it on beat 2. Eighth notes everywhere but 2. 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and... Keep working it. I know it's a pain. Keep working it. You're doing well. All right, last one. I think you can guess what it is. Eighth notes everywhere but one. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. Okay, hopefully you have those under control, and if you don't, it's totally fine. We all have to practice this stuff anyway. And if you do have them under control, let's go to the last set. This last set is where I get the most death threats from my students because we're going to deal with what's known as syncopated rhythms. And syncopated means I hate this. We are very comfortable with downbeats. So when we start taking away those downbeats, we start taking away those numbers, our hands really don't like it. And this is where you get words like offbeat or upbeat, and people are like, this is weird. Yeah, because our styles of music tend to emphasize downbeats. Headbangers bang their head down. People like to dance down. However, what we're about to do is emphasize up, and it starts to become awkward. So if you notice that you want to start punching babies because this is so difficult, again, you're not alone. Just slow it down, get comfortable with it, and feel what's going on. This exercise, we're going to strum straight eighth notes, except we're not going to strum on the downbeat of 2. We're going to strum on the upbeat of 2, but not the downbeat. This is going to be awful. It's not you, it's just awkward. Straight eighths, ignore beat 2. 2, 3, 4. 1 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 3 and 4 and. I know you wanted to shoot me. It's okay. I await your gunshots. However, if you keep practicing it, slow it down if you have to. I promise you will get used to it. Ignoring beat 3, eighth notes everywhere else. 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 4 and. I'm assuming some of you have already slashed my tires. It's okay. It's okay. I have insurance. It's gonna be great. Eighth notes everywhere but beat 4. 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. I'm going to request that the person who has stolen my dog and left me the ransom note because of these strumming patterns, just make sure you feed them the right dog food. All right, and let's do the last one. Eighth notes everywhere but beat 1. 2, 3, 4. And 2 and 3 and 4 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 and. The biggest problem that I see with this is that people are ignoring the and of 4. And it's because everyone says 4 and they think it's done. It's totally normal. Remember, there's some stuff that's happening afterwards. The other one I noticed that people are doing is they're trying to go too fast. I picked 75 beats per minute because it's slow enough and fast enough. But if you notice that it's too slow for you or too fast for you, just adjust the tempo. That's all you have to do. The other one is if you pick the song and it starts to sound awkward to the song, it's because either the song is in a different time signature, meaning they're not counting to 4, they're counting to 3 or something else, or the genre doesn't like that type of strumming pattern. So if you're picking a downbeat type strumming pattern in a reggae, it sounds kind of awkward. Or you're doing more of a reggae and a pop song, again, it sounds kind of awkward. So just make sure you can do them at least with the metronome first, and then start to apply them to your favorite songs. One trick that all the doctors don't want you to know about is to apply these strumming patterns to as many different genres as you possibly can. This is where the genres start to open up to you. because you will start to feel how each genre applies these strumming patterns differently. A pop song will have a certain set of strumming patterns that sound well with it, but a reggae, not so much. And then rock, again, they don't all mix and match. However, if you can control each one of those genres, you're going to notice that all of your genres sound better because you understand how each one is working. Rock sounds really aggressive. So when you start to strum a pop song, the rock will start to come out because you understand how the rock works. So when the pop is trying to sound aggressive, you'll pull out the aggression. If you're trying to sound more laid back like a reggae, you'll know how to do that because you're already used to the genre. Take all the strumming patterns and apply them to as many songs as you possibly can. Hopefully that made your musical life a little bit easier. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, death threats, or have something you want me to go over, please leave them in the comment section because I can't help you if you don't tell me. All right, take it easy, guys.